Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with Shiley Guru. She is an AI product manager. Okay, so I met Shiley when she was a product manager, and before ChatGPT took over the world.
Mhm.
And is now Shiley is a an AI product manager, and she's also the author of one of the top uh, AI product management blogs out there, newsletters, right? So I think you have a lot to learn from her, and I think this will be an amazing conversation that I'm going to have with her. So let's do it. Let's go. What do you think, Shiley?
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you, first of all, for having me on your channel as well. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm proud to have you here. So, uh, I Shiley, I think the way this is going to go is I'm going to have you introduce yourself,
Okay.
and then I'm going to go into the questions, and I'm going to grill you on this AI
All
product
right.
management stuff.
Okay.
So please introduce yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, everyone. My name is Shaylee. Currently work as a contractor over at Amazon within their marketing team, sort of building out Gen AI products. And also, being the first PM within that particular team, just sort of establishing those best practices as well and having fun. That team in itself is just, great group of people. And then on the side, I'm also teaching AI product management or machine learning product management through University of Washington. I wasn't always in AI or in tech. I actually have bachelor's in biology, and then over the last decade or so, I've sort of made the switch from moving from biology, being a microbiology lab technician in hospitals, to then being a vendor manager, moved into being a program manager, then product manager, and then finally an AI product manager back in 2018 or 2019. So it's been a little while. I've been in the AI space before AI got cool. But yeah, I love just product management, everything.
Awesome. And I really like that you said that you didn't start out as a product manager, you studied biology,
I did.
because that shows one of the messages that I want to send to everyone is that you don't have to go and study for the exact same thing that you're going to be doing 10 years from now.
100%.
Yeah, so that's important for me to uh, convey to the audience, especially the young people in the career transitioners who think that they have to study AI product management to go and be an AI product
Yeah, it
manager.
actually helps when you come from a different background because you bring different perspectives instead of just that one, funnel of perspective that you bring with you.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and another thing is that there's a lot of mythical beliefs about product management, and I went through a product management boot camp, and you were one of the guest speakers there, and a lot of product managers were technical ones, like they had been software engineers before. Some of them were not. Some of them came from different places, right? Even
Yeah,
retail.
yeah.
So, and that's one of the things that I want you to like try to incorporate in our conversation today.
Okay, I'll try my best. Otherwise, you can poke at it.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I guess okay, so my first question is explain it to us like we're five, right? What the hell is product management? And then
Okay.
what is AI product management? So,
Yeah.
what AI product management in simple terms, and then how does it differ from the traditional product management roles that we are all more familiar with?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'll actually take the other way around, right? So being a product manager, you're literally that glue, I like to call it, between the non-technical folks who are going to be your business folks, right? So your marketing team, your sales teams, and other teams that, or like even your customers sometimes might be non-technical, and then you're working with your technical team. So you've got your software engineers, your DevOps folks, right, designers for that matter, and then how do you translate those requirements between the two, right? That's one big thing. Also identifying customer pain point. I mean, let's not forget that. That's number one thing, and knowing that you're building the right product, right? Um, and now taking it one step further, AI product is how how it is different is going to be a lot of different layers, right? But AI is where there are two different layers to that too. One is going to be product managers who use AI, right, in their regular day to day to help their product management practices a little bit more easier. Versus the second one is going to be that they're actually building those models. They're gathering those requirements from customers, and or different teams internally or externally, and understanding, okay, can AI actually help? Right? Help us solve that problem. You're not going to be throwing AI everywhere. Otherwise, yeah, I like to compare it as a hammer that you're using in a house. So if a bulb goes out, you're not going to use hammer to fix that bulb. You're going to screw that bulb in. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a lot of holes in your product and or your house. But the way AI product management is different are a couple of different ways. First, you're going to have your data strategy. Without data, you can't build AI. And so, data, right? Have the good quality data as well. Um, but but the rest of it doesn't go away, right? Like the product management things that I talked about, solving the right user problems, as well as stakeholder management skills are still going to be there when it comes to AI product management. But now you're just adding all of these little nuances on top of that. Technical complexity. So AI products involve navigating unique technical factors as well, like model selections, technical training methods, and computing requirements, right? So you're going to want to understand a little bit more in terms of what does that take to develop a model. Next is going to experimentation approach. This is where a lot of my biology research came in handy when I actually became an AI product manager. Is you will have a hypothesis, and then you'll go and see, okay, if your hypothesis is correct or not. So there is going to be a lot of iterations and a lot of experimentation that you're going to be going through, and that lot of uncertainty. So that's another aspect of it. And then metrics and evaluation is going to be, the way you are going to be evaluating your products, aka your models, and how the customers are interacting with it is going to be a little bit different. And then last but not least, and this is, I would say, the most important if your product is going to be touching externally, is those ethical considerations, right? Without it, boy, I mean, just going to take a deep breath. It's going to be a pretty big deal. So don't forget that now in this day and age, AI PMs must proactively address issues like bias, transparency, and unintended consequences that are as prominent or weren't as prominent in traditional product management. So I hope that answers your question.
That answers my question, but that is a lot. And I don't think
Yes.
one human being could be doing all of this plus the basic product management
Hmm.
things that they have to do. So, can you like can you clarify how do you do all of that in
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that's a really good question. A lot of times that I worked, let's say, like for example, at Nike when I used to work with business product managers, right? So they would take care of a lot of, okay, are we solving the right business, or like they would come up with different customer problems, and then we'll say, okay, well, we can solve that, or do we even have data to start off solving that problem with AI, right? Otherwise, you are sort of on your own. And then the way I do it is you have to be organized. I create different streamlines or work streams, and then parallelly, okay, do we have the data? And then there are a lot of consequence. Oh my gosh, uh, not parallel, but like one after the other. I'm like totally drawing a blank today, but
Like work streams.
yeah, but like, so without data, you can't build models, right? So don't even like forget about building models until you have that data, right? What does that data look like? So there are uh, steps that you can follow through. Some of the things like ethical consideration, you're going to have to start thinking about it from the very beginning. When it comes to metrics and evaluation, again, that can't happen until you have that model, you've developed that proof of concept that, you know, it's even feasible to build this particular machine learning model or AI model in general. So, a lot of steps are going to be followed one after the other versus the other ones are going to be more parallel. So you're going to you just have to be organized more than anything else nowadays as a PM.
Okay, so I want to like keep building on this question because
Yeah,
you mentioned a few things: data something, and then technical complexity, and then experimentation, and then metrics and evaluation and ethical considerations. So that's a lot for one person, right? But you still need to work with your stakeholders. You need to
mhm.
work with the data scientists. You need to work with the ethical, ethics people, responsible AI people. So how much of that do you take on, and how much of that do you coordinate with other people? And also, um, like when you're building, okay, you can answer that, and then I'll come back to the other question.
Yeah, yeah. So how much? So the question is, how much do I take on out of all of that work versus how much do I pass on, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times it is up to me, right? Where I am as a product manager, you have to start making those requests yourself. Once you get that data, then the data engineer will come in and evaluate that data, right? Like in the data quality in itself. If all of that looks good, so like then you can pass on that work. But when it comes to, let's say, like ethical considerations, sometimes there is responsible AI teams that are being formed within organizations. So you could reach out to them from the very beginning and just let them know, here is something that we're planning on doing. What are your thoughts? Sometimes they might even have office hours, so attend those to better understand, is anyone else, what is everyone else building within your company, right? And sort of get that idea that if you will have to use their help in the first place. So you're not in this alone by yourself, but as a product manager, that is you, it is your job and responsibility that you have to go in depth instead of broad as a program manager, right? um, so I hope they answered your question.
Yeah, no, and managers are busy
Yeah,
people
yeah,
to begin with. And so I guess my next question is, what specific skills or knowledge areas are essential for someone who is a product manager to transition from the regular PM title to an AI product manager without just adding the AI in front of it, because a lot of people are doing that
yeah,
for
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
What really makes a product manager become an AI product manager?
yeah. I mean, so first things first, right? Use a user-centric approach to solving problems. First, find out, are you solving the right problem? Does business care about it? So those are some of the skills right off the bat, right? Stakeholder management, cross-functional leadership. You have to be strong when it comes to all of these things in order for you to then become an AI product manager. Product discovery methodologies and roadmap development. These are all essential skills that you should be building as a product manager. Business case development, ROI justification, right? And then last but not least, project management. You have to do a little bit of project management and like agile and know the agile methodologies. That might change when you become an AI product manager. And then you will have to sort of play it off with your team in terms of, do they like Kanban? Do they like agile? Is it 1 week sprint, 2 week sprints? You know, you'll play with your team on that, or you'll figure it out. Yeah, so those are some of the skills that you'll be using a lot more, and you want to have time to sharpen that part of the knife, right? Because you'll be sharpening everything else, like understanding technical So like sufficient AI ML literacy, data strategy, and things along those lines.
Okay. So those skills that you mentioned are
It's
basic PM skills and product management skills, or are there any additional AI product management skills that you suggest?
Yeah, so the ones that I just mentioned right now are product management skills, right? Now, when it comes to AI product management skills, all the things that make AI product managers different, right? So, like going back to that data efficiency, technical understanding of those models, not necessarily like, okay, you're going to be using this particular model to detect this, right? Not that in depth. Sometimes you have to be that in depth as well, depending on organization. But you do need to know and understand what is supervised machine learning, what's unsupervised machine learning, reinforcement learning, things along those lines. Data strategy, right? Understanding data collection, data labeling, bias detection, infrastructure needs, all of those are, again, you're going to be building that as an AI product manager. Designing experiment, right? And evaluate how those experiments are coming along. Similar to those A/B tests that we do as an essential, like a product manager, but then now taking it one step up. Ethics and governance, and then managing the uncertainty. That is literally the hardest part because your executive or your leadership will want to know when you're going to be launching this particular product. Well, let me tell you, sometimes it might take you 3 months to just get that data, let alone play around with that data to build that proof of concept. So you just managing that uncertainty with your leadership is going to be hard.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I think I think you may have answered this question already, but if you have anything to add, let us know. If not, we can move on. But which skills transfer directly, and which ones need to be developed? And I think you did answer some of it, but if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can.
I mean, so some of the skills that transfer are like stakeholder management, user-centric approach, product discovery, like all of the things that I said that you should be bringing
Mhm.
that are essential to product managers, traditional product management, and then the rest of them that I just spoke about, right? In terms of data, technical understanding, all of that will like is something that you will have to develop as an AIPM.
And how do you develop those? Do you mostly read, self-teach, take boot camps, courses, certificates? How do you do all of those things without going back?
I will, yeah, great question. I would like to say all of the above. Unfortunately, there weren't that many classes when I first dove into being an AI product manager. And so I got my hand slapped a lot in terms of like, okay, how about this? How about this? How about this? Right. And being one of the only product managers sometimes in some of the organizations, I'm like, I hadn't thought about it. Why hadn't I thought about it? But I didn't realize it was my first time going through it. So I took a course. It's called AI Product Management from Duke on Coursera. And that was a couple of years ago. And when I was going through it, I'm like, gosh, this makes so much more sense. And it just validated all the learning points that I had gathered by myself without knowing that I was gathering those learning points or like learning while I was it's like building an airplane while I was flying at the same time, which was hard, but
Oh,
I'm glad that I was able to make it on the other side with that plane.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess my next question is a segue into it. But what educational backgrounds do you typically see in successful AI product managers today? Knowing that this AI product manager thing, it's like maybe 2 years old, right? I personally had not heard of it before ChatGPT launched, right? So, what educational backgrounds can you kind of suggest for this?
Yeah. I don't think I mean I okay, right off the bat I can say like folks with, you know, computer science background might it might be easier for them, but I'm not saying that you can't, right? I mean, I've done it with biology background. You just have to be open to learning and being curious and like just continuous learning. That's the path that we're on with AI product management. Even when Gen AI is being developed so quickly on a weekly or daily basis, even right now, we're all learning. Like MCP just came out, right? And now everyone's like, okay, what is MCP? We're going to go and like build it out. So we're still learning.
What is MCP?
Model context protocol.
Okay, see, that's
Yeah,
new to
and so
me.
that's it's like I said, right? If I am not always continuously learning as an AI product manager or just product manager in general, then I know I'm going to be falling behind. So staying, it doesn't matter the background, I think, at this point in time. It's about what do you do, keep moving forward.
But you do agree that a technical degree in AI or computer science or data science is ideal in
It will
this.
be easier, but then at that point in time, you're going to have to learn product management. So what is more easier for you to learn, the technical aspect of it, or like that stakeholder management, like being able to talk to your customers aspect of it, right? So AI is like it combines AI product management combines both the technical as well as personal and or like the customer, and how do you bring it together?
So I guess to put a pin, like a final point on this. So imagine someone who is a non-technical person who has been laid off and they want to dive into the world of product management and AI management, right? They come in with a policy background, let's say.
Mhm.
What is your suggestion for this person? Let's say that they have 6 months to a year of runway that they can dedicate to study and building in public so that they can go into this and compete with others. What do you suggest to that person?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm actually mentoring someone that doesn't come from policy background, but comes from a different background. Uh, I would say for that particular person, rely on what you know. So if your knowledge is around policy, especially right now with responsible AI coming into play, ethical AI coming into play, right? With what you know, leverage that and see if you can become a responsible AI product manager and what does it take. The first step, if I were in their shoes, the first step I would do is literally just go on LinkedIn and just put responsible product managers. And then look at what pops up in terms of people and start connecting with them or start building your network and see how they got to that point and learn from them. Because they already have the job that you want, right? And then sort of build that plan towards it.
Okay, so responsible AI product managers. So, but I mean, are companies actually hiring for this
Yeah,
responsible AI PMs, or are they just swapping that responsibility on the current PMs and say, "Oh, you have to look at it responsibly too"?
I would say I mean, I've definitely seen responsible AI product managers like jobs as well as folks getting promoted as within their organization in that particular category as well.
Mhm.
So a little bit of both. I know one personally as well that works at Salesforce and he's doing a marvelous job. So
Okay,
yeah,
sounds good.
if anyone's interested, I'm happy to connect you with him.
Sounds good.
I don't want to say his name because
Okay. Yeah, no, no, don't.
yeah.
So, okay, so I want to go into like the more practical and concrete part of this. Could you walk us through a typical day in your life as an AI product manager? Like what meetings, decisions, and tasks occupy your time that might be unique to managing AI products? You don't have to tell us anything too,
Yeah.
um, proprietary, but in
Yeah.
general.
I mean, it is very similar to like a typical or software product manager's day as well, right? You might be attending a lot of stand-ups to understanding, okay, how are your engineering teams doing? If they have any blockers, If you don't have a Scrum Master or Scrum leader, then you might be taking on those responsibilities to removing those blockers. But then it could be as simple as, okay, well, what does our roadmap look like 6 months from now, right? Every day looks so different. It's because when I was over at Nike, every project was in a different stage of their life. So some projects I was literally asking around for data. Some products I was taking a look at or were building out, and they were really in the middle of building out those proof of concepts. A lot of times I'm also talking to customers to better understand, okay, well, does this UI make sense, right? At that point in time, we didn't have Bolt or V0, so I couldn't create those prototypes. So I had to like hand draw a lot of those prototypes and get their feedback. But now with the new tools coming out, it's so much more easier. So every day will not be the same, which is a good thing because then I get bored if I was doing the same thing every day. Yeah,
Okay, sounds
yeah.
good. Cool. So, I mean, I'm curious. So, for example, with products like at Nike, right, where the product is a sneaker or clothes, um, what does an AI product manager do in a company where things are more, hardware or concrete? It's not software.
But it is, right? Because how are you developing materials? There is tons of data, tons of material that goes through with it. Even when how do you think the Nike store that could be near to you gets those shoes, right? So there's supply and demand. So there is a whole machine learning AI infrastructure that you can place at that point in time. Nike does a lot of limited releases in like events per se, where they make footwear just for that particular event, and that event might be happening at like 7 o'clock in the morning. There are a lot of bots that then go and like start purchasing those particular footwear. So you need bot detection, right? So there are so many different areas. That's a really good point you bring up. Like how it's Nike's all physical, right? Like footwear and apparel, but there's so much that goes behind, and that's for every company that you might not realize in the front. Um, but once you get in there, once you start talking to folks and organizations across Nike, that was one of my favorite part of my job was evangelizing AIML and seeing like where can it be used or what use cases should we be going after and prioritizing. Definitely very interesting. Unfortunately, I can't talk about so many different use cases because of proprietary information, but
Oh, oh,
yeah.
no, don't worry. Okay, so I guess I think you may have answered this somewhat, but if you have anything to add, what are the biggest challenges that you face when managing AI products that traditional product managers don't have to contend with?
Yeah, yeah. Gosh, number one is managing uncertainty. I think I did mention that earlier, right? AI capabilities keep evolving so rapidly, and sometimes they're just unpredictable, right? So, how do you sort of navigate that? How do you provide even timelines and roadmap a lot of times? So that's one aspect. And ROI. Another one is how do you justify like return on investment? No, can't even talk.
ROI.
It is so hard because it's going to take you. I mean, even we saw like OpenAI said that they are losing money even when they're charging $200 per month per pro certification or pro membership that they have, right? So building AI sometimes just takes a lot of money. So how do you justify that AI still needs to be used instead of going down that traditional route of maybe just putting some rules in places, right? So those are like the biggest two, I would say, biggest challenges. And then the third one is comes from user perspective, where it's like when customers are coming in, right, and they're saying, okay, I would like this. Let's say, imagine they're talking to a chatbot, for example. Everyone's probably used a chatbot, and it's a Gen AI operated chatbot. And they were like, okay, how did that chatbot get me that answer? It's a black box. The only thing they're doing is they're talking to the chatbot like they would be with a human being. But with a human being, you can probably think through like reasoning, right? But when it comes to AI, it's just black box. So how do you explain that? Do you need to explain that? So there is a whole another side to that as well, right? So how AI systems are making those decisions is also very crucial. And do we show that to our customers or not?
That's a great point. Like, that whole transparency and, you know, all of that.
Yeah, yeah,
And I
exactly.
think there's also the like the accountability thing. Like, um do you take the fall if something goes wrong with this AI product? Like, who takes the fall? Like,
Yeah, yeah. Who's responsible in the end, right?
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. That's where a human in the loop would be would be necessary, right? Depending on where you're placing that AI, right? If it's to do with medicine, if it's to do with like life threatening, um, then I would rather have a human involved there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. And how do you approach these challenges? Because for me, like, that sounds like a lot of responsibility for one product manager or one function to take on. So, how do you balance that with other people in the business?
yeah. I mean, at any point given time, so first you start off with proof of concepts, right? You're starting very, very small. Once you start productionizing that particular model, that's where a lot of other like ethical teams, responsible AI teams will also come into play more frequently. And sometimes you just have to take that risk, right? But how big is that risk that you're willing to take? And sometimes you might be that VP that gets to make that decision, right? I don't get paid the big bucks yet. And so I always consult with leadership to better understand, okay, are we willing to take that, leap? Are we willing to take that risk?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess now I want to move on to some of the like user needs, right? So, how do you balance technical requirements with user needs when developing AI products, especially when you're explaining complex AI capabilities to non-technical stakeholders?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you might have mentioned some things, but really would like to dive deeper into that.
Yeah. I would say I always start with user problems, right? Not that we have this AI, where can we go place it? So that's number one. Start with the users and what problems are we solving of the users. Um, next is whenever I am talking to non-technical folks, I want to better understand where they're coming from. So if I'm talking to the finance team, and I'm trying to better have them better understand AI, then I use analogies that comes from finance. If I'm using from to marketing, if I'm talking to marketing teams, then the analogies will switch. It always helps to meet them more than halfway. Meet them where they are versus having them to meet where we are, right? Because that's a bigger leap right now. I'm hoping that at one point in time, like we are with product managers, traditional product managers, everyone's able to sort of leverage each other's lingos or language. Moving forward, though, I mean, right now we'll have to make that jump ourselves more.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
And what frameworks or methodologies do you find most effective for measuring the success of AI products? Since traditional metrics might not always apply when it comes to AI products.
yeah. Actually, just going back to the other one as well, right? I also want to make sure that we're talking about like the outcomes as well for business, right? And not necessarily just focusing on algorithms. And that as an AI product manager, you have to understand. Sometimes when you are talking to um, teams that are not more AI focused, it helps to show them. So that's where that proof of concept also comes into place. And a proof of concept can be created within like 30 days if you have the right data available at your hands and data scientists as well. And then ensuring that you have that feedback loop between customers and then your product as well in the beginning, especially. So I just wanted to make sure that I just, sort of, these are the boxes that I check
Mhm.
uh, in terms of like, how do I balance technical requirements over, or user requirements over technical requirements when it comes to AI? Yeah.
Mhm.
Sorry. Ask me that question again, please.
Yeah. So, what frameworks or methodologies do you find most effective for
Yeah.
measuring the success of AI products, given that traditional metrics might not always apply?
Yeah. I mean, they do though still. Traditional metrics still apply because in traditional product management, you were still going after those business metrics, right? So like the revenue impact or efficiency gains or like cost savings. Those metrics will still stay the same, right? Yeah, like if you have customers or members, are they churning? Are you retaining them? What does that look like? So those OKRs up top will still trickle down to that. So those, but then how do you solve it with AI metrics? So depending on, okay, well, if your model is a little bit more accurate, what does that tell you about your customers and if they're churning or not, right? So that traditional metrics aren't going away. It's just that AI metrics are now being added to that.
Mhm.
And understanding the line between the two will definitely help. Um, I also want to better understand when we say that our developers are going to go and build this algorithm out, what confidence are they saying that with? Um, how confident are you that you can build this, right? Even in like a smaller tasks, how confident are they? And then um, yeah, a lot of times there's going to be that human in the loop, as I mentioned earlier. That is going to be your number one efficiency as well, where systems that combine AI and human judgment, measuring how AI improves human decision, also quality and speed also comes into a big play. And so having human involved a lot of times, depending on what products you're building and where AI is being used, um, will come in handy.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, and how do you incorporate ethical considerations and responsible AI principles? To go back to that, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interest in that in the next few months, few years. How do you incorporate those considerations into your product development process? And do you find that this is becoming a more significant part of the role?
That's a good question again. Um, I would say similar to if you're bringing AI in, right? It's going to be changing something. So like similar to change management, how if you're implementing a whole new process or you're switching out one step in that process, you're going to need change management. And you have to start thinking about management from the very beginning. Ethical AI, responsible AI is very similar, right? With AI, at every stage or every step, if it's an internal customer that you're trying to build this AI for, it might look a little bit more different versus if you're building it for external consumers, then you have to start thinking about it from the very beginning, as I mentioned earlier. So it's a parallel process. When you get that customer problem that you know that you're passionate about, that you've already gotten the funding, start thinking about where ethical AI, responsible AI will come into play as well. So from the very, very beginning. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now I want to, we're coming to the end of the interview, but I want to, this is a Tech Careers of the Future is the name of the channel. So my focus is on careers and, the next 3 to 5 years and career growth, right? So, do you believe that AI product management is a career of the future, and why? And, I can repeat this second part of the question, but what trends are you seeing that suggest that this role will grow or not in
Yeah.
importance?
Oh boy. We've all heard Claire Vaux said product management is going to be dead, right?
Who said that?
Claire Vaux.
Oh, I did not know that.
I think the definition of product management is just going to be a little bit different.
Okay.
Yes, there are a lot of different ways AI can be utilized to make product managers' job a little bit more easier, right? But you're still going to be the person that is going to be taking a look at, okay, is that the right customer problem to go solve? AI can also do that right now. But I think it's just going to grow. Right now, what we do is we do um, customer discovery, user problems, or find out the problem first, then do customer discovery a little bit more, problem discovery, market analysis, right? Like the Porter's five forces, you kind of sort of run through it if you need to go and build out this product or should you build out this product. But moving forward, you're going to have to take it one step further, right? I called it, I think, in one of my posts, like full stack product management, where now you're going to have to go and start building out that prototype as well instead of having to rely. I'm not saying that product designers are not going to be there, that you can't utilize them, but a lot of times in a lot of my teams, I just haven't had product designers. So I'm the one that's also prototyping that particular product or the feature. And so the full stack product management will go from literally from an idea to then also that what will that product look like, right? And then iterating on what that product looks like before you go and start developing that product in itself. So
Okay. So, if you
yeah,
go ahead, sorry, go ahead.
no, go for it.
If you could, I know it's not a yes or no question, but
Yeah,
if you could,
it's not. It is a tough question right now. Yeah,
right. So, is it yes or no, or it depends, or is it will evolve?
you mean just like the product management practices
Career.
or like the role in itself?
Yes.
Oh yeah, it will 100% evolve. Now, what will that look like is something that, I mean, it's already evolved, right? If you take a look at it. Um, and I think we're going to have to take on more, not less.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't see that. I can't see a PM taking on more.
I mean, with AIPM, you've already started to take on more, right? But what you always have to do more and more. Even developers, right? My husband and I both work in tech. We were just chatting, where I think what is going to be required as a first level software engineer is going to be at a different level. So like 10 years ago, what was required is going to be now that similar skill level is going to be required by junior software engineers, right? Because they are able to use AI. And so how do you utilize AI to make your job a little bit more easier and or um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the skill
You-
sets will change
So
for
you will
both.
take on more, but there's also AI to help you.
Correct. As
Okay.
long as your company allows it, right? And you have to adhere to those policies as well.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But in itself, like the number of product managers, do you think it will grow? Because I remember in our IPMA, in our PM boot camp, one of the speakers said every company will need product managers in the future. And that was, the same year that ChatGPT came out. So do you think that's still the case?
Hmm. Again, a loaded question.
Right.
Will we need the same number of PMs? I would say most likely you would need less amount of PMs, right, at this point in time, just because you're going to have AI that will be like your um, product intern that's working with you.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is sad for me to say out loud that we're going to require less number of product managers.
You said it's scary for you?
Or sad, right? Like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hopefully there will be like a corresponding growth in another function, right?
Yes, exactly. I mean, we don't know what next 5 years will bring into play.
Not at all. No
Yeah.
one can predict that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, I want to wrap up with my last question that I always ask all of my guests. What advice would you give to someone watching this who wants to prepare themselves for both a product management career, but also an AI product management career in the next 3 to 5 years?
I would say 3 to 5 years is a long time. How
I
about we
know. Yeah. Yeah.
especially in this rapidly evolving technology industry that we're all part of, let's keep it like, 12 to 24 months
Okay.
at most.
Yeah.
I would say, right, start building that technical literacy if you want to be an AI product manager, and sort of uh, start doing that hands-on experience, right? Experiment, 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 but then with this experiences as well. Um, and start developing those communication skills as well.
Okay.
Because as a product manager, regardless of you being a software product manager or an AI product manager, you're going to need that.
Okay, let me just dig into a little bit more.
Yeah.
When you say technical literacy,
Yeah.
um, so can you provide like specific examples like learn Python, learn SQL, or just play around with the different LLMs? Like, can you expand a little bit on that?
Yeah. I would say go and start with foundations, right? What is AI? Learn supervised machine learning, unsupervised machine learning, slowly move into deep learning neural networks. You don't need to know it 100%, but you knowing and having those language in your back pocket will help you interact with your technical teams a lot more easier. So
Which
that
languages did you say?
uh, just like technical acumen, right? Like the more you build it, the easier it'll be for you to talk with your data scientists, your machine learning engineers, all of the DevOps or ML ops, Gen AI ops folks that you're going to be interacting with. So that's what I meant is learn the foundations first.
Okay, learn.
It's very important. Yeah.
Okay. And then when you say experiment, can you kind of give an example of what you mean by that?
Yeah. So when you're right, so if you're using a product, let's say it's your favorite product, but you're still saying like, oh, I wish it had that. Go and build it out, right?
Mhm.
Bolt is a great uh, product that I've been using lately, where you can just feed it a screenshot and you can literally use your words that, hey, can you create this particular screenshot like right then and there. I actually just did that today and posted on LinkedIn. And then can you add this functionality right now? What will that functionality do? That's up to you. So that's an experiment that you're doing to see, okay, well, what does that look like? And then, or if you have an inkling feeling that this is something that the customers would want, then go ask them, right? Like at your current job, or post it on LinkedIn as a question, or Reddit as a question.
That's amazing. And I did see your post about Claude and I was like, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
yeah. So it's that taking that little steps, right? Because it's teaching you more about technology as well and the products.
And do you have any courses, certs that you recommend? Any languages like Python, SQL that you recommend learning? And any other tools? You mentioned Bolt, right? Is it BOLT?
Yeah, bolt.new, NEW.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you like just share those educational resources, tools, certs, languages?
Yeah. I mean, I'm teaching AIML, course right now, certification course through University of Washington. So that's one aspect. I mean, I have to sort of toot my own horn,
Uh-huh.
and that one is pretty good. But you will need product management experience for about at least 3 to 5 years, and for you to then qualified to come learn with us. But there are other, right? Marilee Nika does. I've heard. I haven't taken her course yet, but Marilee Nika does a pretty good job of sort of bringing you along in this journey as well of AI product managers. So that's another, or just pick up a book too, right? Like, or ask ChatGPT, what's the best way to learn about AI if you're not using AI to learn it? But make sure it's not hallucinating. So you want to make sure uh, that you, or Perplexity is another good source where it does provide you links in terms of where they got that particular statement and or fact, and then you can click on the link, and sometimes that link will take you to the right collection of the article, and sometimes it might be a fake link, so just double check on that. From my experience is what I'm telling you. It might have gone, it's gotten a lot better now versus what it was a year ago.
Awesome.
It hallucinates less.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Chiley. I really appreciate your time and you taking the time to talk to us about AI product management. And
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to sharing this more widely with my audience.
Awesome. Oh, yeah. Well, thank you again for having me. Really appreciate it. Let me know how else I can help in the future.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Um, okay.